Hi there, this is Joe Wilson from dobrojoe.com, and I want to tell you a little bit about Shubb's line of tone bars. Tone bar is a slide we use to play dobro, steel guitar, pedal steel, lap steel, dobro, you name it. Any slide that you're playing flat like this, you're going to be using a tone bar of some kind. And a tone bar is a solid slide. It's not hollow like a bottleneck slide that you wear on your finger. It's a solid bar that you hold in your hand. Oftentimes when you're looking at tone bars, you'll see a terminology like, is it a contoured bar? Now, all of Shubb's bars are contoured bars. Contoured bar just means that it is concave on the sides and the top. And that is your grip. So you have your index finger on top, and you have your thumb on one side and your middle finger on the other, and it makes the bar nice and easy to hold on to. You don't want to drop the bar. So they are all contoured, but they make 6 of them. So which one to pick, right? Well, what I'm going to do is talk through the different kind of features you might see, help you decide what one might work best for whatever instrument you have or your style of playing. The first thing you're going to see that's kind of obvious is the length of the bar. They're not all the same length. You see, like, here's a nice long Robert Randolph bar compared to a short SP3, and you can see the playing surface is significantly longer on the Robert Randolph. That is all just about getting the one for the right instrument. So if you have more strings, you need a longer bar. You want the bar to be able to cover the strings. You don't want a bunch of extra bar that you don't need. So the shorter bars are going to be best for your 6-string dobro, 6-string lap steel. And then, you get into 8-string steel, you might want something a little longer. You get all the way to the pedal steels that have 10 strings, 12 strings, you need the longest bars we got. So that's the thing about length. You're just getting the one that's appropriate for your guitar. Now, all of these things are kind of subject to your own little opinion. So you may find that you like something better than something else for your own reasons, and that's perfectly okay. We're just going to get you the right place to start. The next thing you'll see, and the nice thing about these Shubb bars is that they list this information on the back of the packaging. It's the weight of the bar. So if you look at the back of a package of a Shubb tone bar, it not only lists the weight of the bar that's in the package, but it lists the weight of the bars, the other bars that they sell. Why does the weight matter? Well, a heavier bar usually has the big fat tone. The heavier the bar, the bigger the tone, which is really nice. But a heavier bar, it's more bar to move around too, so they're not as fast. So a lighter bar is going to be faster, and a heavier bar is going to be more tony. So you're going to find something that works for you, that is comfortable enough, but you want enough mass to give you big tone. So even Shubb's lightest bar has pretty nice tone. So it's a subtle thing, but if you're looking for that big tone, you want the heavier bar. And if you want to move real fast, you might want something lighter. All right, well, that's that. And then there are some other special like shapes and features. One of the things you'll see is whether or not it has a bullet tip. Well, what's that mean? A bullet bar typically is fully round, shaped like a bullet. Now, Shubb's bars are contoured, like I said, but some people still like that rounded tip of the bullet bar. And so like SP2 has a bullet tip, and you can see like this side right here is a little rounded. This side isn't. This side is. And why do you want that? Well, what happens, you play dobro or your steel, the rounded tip on the front will glide across the strings. Even if you're tilting the bar up a little bit, which we sometimes do on dobro, you're going to glide across the strings really smoothly. Now, there's also like pull-off technique. So this is why you might not want a bullet tip. So on a dobro, we pull off, kind of pick the string with the bar. So you hear that? That's with a bullet tip, and the pull off is there, but it's not as strong as the picked note. This is an SP3, doesn't have the bullet tip. And now I'm kind of picking the string with the bar, which I can't do with that rounded bullet tip. Now, that pull-off technique is usually a dobro thing. On a steel guitar, it's amplified. They have even more sustain and more volume. You're playing lighter. You don't need to get every pick as loud as you can. So the bullet tip, even you're playing lighter, you can just kind of lift the bar up and you get your pull-off sound okay. So in general, I like the bullet tips for electric steel guitar and the non-bullet tips for dobro. Make sense? Okay. What else do we have? We have this thing called cutaway. Like, well, I've heard of cutaway guitar. What about a cutaway tone bar? And why does that matter? A lot of people don't know why this matters. So the cutaway is right here on the sides. These are cutaways. So see how that's like concave section there? Well, why does that matter? It matters if you happen to be someone that likes to play a lot of backward slants. When we're playing dobro, usually we're flat, straight across the strings like this. But sometimes we do some slants. Let me see. Like that. That's angling the bar this way. Now a backward slant is the other way. If I can do it. There it is. And a lot of people use this technique where they hold the ends of the bars when they do backward slants. So there, I've got a handle to hold the bar when I do backward slants. I don't slant a whole lot because it's a recipe for playing out of tune. But it is a great thing to be able to do if you can do it. And if you do a lot of backward slants, and that's how you hold the bar when you do it, that cutaway is pretty nice. That's what that cutaway is for. It's for backward slants. So let's see. We've got the weight. We've got the bullet tip. That's really about it for the difference between the bars. We got weight, length, bullet, cutaway. There might be some other little comfort features in there. The GS1, which is the bar I don't have, has a wooden cap. The handle is actually wooden, and then it's stainless steel on the bottom. It makes it a little bit lighter, makes it real fast, and it's also curved on top, which makes it comfortable for some people's fingers. So if comfort is what you're going for, the GS1 is pretty nice. I want to run through the bars now a little bit one by one and just say what I think they're best for. So that GS1, which I don't have here, that's the one with the wooden cap. That's a great bluegrass dobro bar. It's fast. It's heavy enough to give you tone. It has good pull-offs, no bullet tip. And it has that curved top. It's best for comfort. If you're having a hard time with your grip and you need something more comfortable, it might be worth a shot to try that GS1 wood-capped tone bar from Shubb. All right, and I want to look at the rest of the SP line. So the SPs, SP1 is a long bar with cutaway on one side and a bullet tip. This is really good for 8-string steel, or maybe if you want it could be used for a pedal steel. If you want a contoured pedal steel bar that has a bullet tip, this is pretty good. It's a little lighter than some of the other bars, so it's on the light side, especially for a pedal steel. But it might be worth it for the comfort. You might want to try that. So that's my recommendation for this, is for either an 8-string steel, 8-string lap steel, especially if you had an 8-string lap steel with wide string spacing like an old Gibson. It might be nice to use the SP1. And maybe a pedal steel. Bullet tip, electric, that's good. Now we're getting to some of Joe's favorites. The SP2 is one of my favorites. The SP2 is a little heavier. It's the heaviest of the SPs. Really tony, lovely bar. It's got a bullet tip on one end and a flat tip on the other. This is what I recommend for 6-string lap steel. Maybe 8-string lap steel. I use it on 6 or 8. Probably not long enough to do a pedal steel. Cool thing about the SP2 is because it doesn't have the bullet tip on the backside there. It has that cutaway that makes really nice pull-offs if you want to use it for a dobro. Get nice pull-offs. Flip it around and you got the bullet tip. So if you're not sure, if you want to try the bullet tip and you want something that can kind of work either way, you can use one end for the bullet tip, use the other end for pull-offs. Pretty sweet. This is my recommendation for 6 and 8-string lap steel. Next is the bar that's actually in my gig bag and I use every day. SP3. SP3, it does not have a bullet tip. It's double cutaway, kind of a medium weight. And so it's really a dobro bar. This is my recommendation for dobro. This or the GS1. But I like this one. It's heavier. I like the sound a little bit better. I'm really taking a liking to this. This is currently in my bag and I use it every day. SP3, my favorite for dobro. I use it on 6 and 8-string lap steel too. Now we're getting to the Robert Randolph series. You guys know about Robert Randolph? Wicked steel guitarist. He plays pedal steel in that kind of gospel sacred steel style. And Shubb has 2 bars with his name on them. So these are the longest of Shubb's bars and the heaviest of Shubb's bars. And these are great pedal steel bars if you want something that's contoured, which is not something you see every day. Something this long and heavy, but contoured. This is the RR1, Robert Randolph 1. And it's just flat, it's straight. There's no cutaway or anything. There's no bullet tip. It's just a no-nonsense, heavy, contoured bar for playing pedal steel. It's a little much. If I try to play this on a dobro, you can see like I got a lot of bar that's kind of hanging over the edge. So it's a bit much for a 6-string steel. Probably be cool for an 8-string though. 8-string, especially old 8-string Gibson, something wide, pedal steel. And the difference between the RR1 and the RR2 is just weight. The RR2 is the big honking heavy thing. And the RR1 is still heavy, but a little bit more reasonable. So I would probably start with the RR2, like go for the big one. If you're putting it on a pedal steel, you're probably not picking it up and slamming it down a whole lot. Robert Randolph might though. That big heavy one is nice. If it feels like that's too much to move around, if it's too bulky in your hand, because it's heavier, it's also a little bigger, the RR1 might be a nice option as well. All right, I think that breaks it down. These are all really nice, useful Shubb tone bars, and I think you can see, like, depending on the instrument, if you're playing acoustic or electric, if you want these different, if you play a lot of slants, or if you play really fast, or if you just want that big fat tone, you can kind of like decide what you're going for there. So I hope this is good information, and have fun playing your dobro, your steel guitar. And I will see you guys soon. Take it easy.